Hey YouTube friends, today I'm going to show you the simplest way to make your own tomato sauce. And the easiest part is you don't even have to peel or core your tomatoes. This is a great way to preserve an overabundance of any kind of tomatoes, even cherry tomatoes. So let's dig in. We call cherry tomatoes Tommy toes, and we get tons of them every year. I made a video about how easy it is to let cherry tomatoes reseed themselves so you'll have an abundance every year. You don't even have to plant them, they just come back year after year. I'll leave a link for that video in the description. But now that we have so many Tommy toes, we want to preserve them so that we can use them all year long. Preserving them the way I'm going to show you today is super simple. All you need is a big pot to cook them in and a lot of tomatoes, which we have. And you can do this with any type of tomato. You can do it with slicers or romas or cherry tomatoes. All of these will work fine. In this video, I'm actually using roma tomatoes because that's what I had at the time. But I also have tons of cherry tomatoes coming in, and I'll be doing this with them too, and you can as well. First, you want to wash up the tomatoes real good, because remember, we're not taking off the skin, we're putting that right in the sauce, so you want to make sure that skin is nice and clean. You also want to cut off the stems and cut out any bad spots in the tomatoes, and then just cut them up into smaller pieces. If you're using cherry tomatoes, they're pretty small already, you can just slice them in half. That just opens the tomato up, and it's going to help the tomatoes cook down and break down faster in the next step. Put all your tomato pieces in a big pot, big enough to hold all your tomatoes and still have enough room left over for everything to boil and bubble without popping out of the pan and making a big mess on your stove. You can add salt or spices of your choice if you wish, but I don't like to add anything because I want this tomato sauce to be a blank slate that I can tailor to whatever recipe I'm going to be using at the time later. I don't know what I'm going to be cooking 6 months from now, and I just want some tomato sauce that I can adapt for whatever recipe I'm going to be cooking. With everything in the pot, you want to bring it to a boil while stirring it regularly, and then reduce the heat and just let it simmer, stirring it occasionally to make sure that nothing scorches to the bottom of the pot and to help the tomatoes break down and fall apart. I let mine simmer for about 2 hours, but the juicier the tomatoes are, the longer you will want to let it simmer, because that's going to reduce down, evaporate out some of the water and thicken the sauce. So just simmer it down until it's about the thickness that you desire. The last step is to use an immersion blender to blend everything up. This turns the tomatoes, including the skins, the cores, and even the seeds, into a smooth, delicious tomato sauce. And you can freeze it, or you can pressure can it, or you can put it in the fridge and use it within a couple of days. I actually like to put mine in a freezer bag and freeze it and save it up until I have enough to pressure can a whole batch of tomato sauce, which for me is about 9 pints. This batch only made about 3 pints for me, so I'll save these in the freezer until I have 9 pints to pressure can, and then I'll do that. Now in this recipe, we use the whole tomato, even the skins and the seeds, which others might throw away. God does something similar in our lives too. In Romans 8:28, it says, "And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purposes." While we might want to avoid or just throw away many of the bad times or difficulties or struggles in our lives, God uses it all, everything, good and bad, for our own good. Somehow in his supernatural power, God uses even the hard parts of our lives for our benefit. So we need a little faith to be patient until everything in our life simmers down to produce just the right results God wants to see in us. So be patient and hang in there, and then let's get out there and let's grow and be fruitful.